just find people who are doing better than you in one area and just replicate the results. That's why I joined, and it's what I still do right now. I'm always looking to find people who have the results I want, and then I just reverse engineer that.
Anytime there was something that I wanted to do or a result that I wanted to experience, I would find out A, who else is getting that result, and B, of the people that are getting that result, who's also getting that result for other people.
I need to focus in on systems. I need to focus in on leverage, because if I don't have those two things there and I fall off, then everything falls over. A lot of entrepreneurs are the same. They move fast and they break things. So you need the systems, you need the staff there.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's Russ. Another client interview for you today. Today, we're going to be talking to one of our clients who's absolutely crushing it. And as always, with every video we do on this channel, this whole thing is about pulling back the curtain and showing you the secrets that we've learned from over 9 figures in high ticket coaching revenue. So if you're a coach, consultant, expert, author, speaker, or you want to make a living from your wisdom or knowledge or expertise, hit that like and subscribe button because you are absolutely in the right place. Now, quick disclaimer, I'm not saying that if you watch these videos, you're going to make $100 million, bajillion dollars or anything like that. What I'm saying is that if you want to build a business that gives you the income you want, the freedom you want, and allows you to make that impact you were born to make, then you want to learn how to do it from the best. And that's why we started this channel. So without further ado, let's dive in. Welcome, Mr. Vincent Holthouse. Vincent, how you doing, man?
Good, Russ. Thanks for having me.
Fantastic, man. Look, just to start, why don't you tell everybody about your offer and the problem that you solve for your clients?
Yeah, I'm going to give you a little bit of a long-winded answer here. So the offer that I have is essentially rent-to-rent real estate. So basically what we do is we rent properties long-term. Think about it like any business you walk past in the street. Maybe 5% of them own the property they operate out of. We pull the owners out the front of the property and we ask them, do you own this place? They say no. We discuss lease terms with the owner and then we set up our shop within it. That's what we do with residential properties, but we fit them out with beds and like study desks and kitchens and stuff like that. So basically we'll rent and then re-rent rooms and set up share houses or boarding houses. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so you can then do that at a profit, right? So the aggregate, what are you renting the space for, and then typically what are you renting it out for? Like what's the delta between what you're putting out and what you're bringing in with one property?
The wholesale price of the property might be let's say $800, and then maybe we'll do 7 or 8 rooms for $280, something like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so there's a good margin there. The services that people can't really get into real estate if they've come from interstate or overseas, they don't have any references, they don't have any capital. So it's like you'd need to pay 1 month rent and bond, you'd need to be able to furnish a whole house, you'd need some rental reference history. And if they come through us, we can see that they've come from overseas and we'll take a reference from some parent overseas without them needing to have that history here. And they're not going to need, $8,000 for rent and bond and another $8,000 to furnish a whole house out. They can just pay us 2 weeks rent, $400, and come in. So it's a really useful service while people are building their roots. So if you're studying a bachelor's degree in whatever you want to be doing at university, and you're going to be a really great student and a great asset to the community, but you just don't have those things in place, you can come in and we've got your TV hung up on the wall, and you've got the bed there, you've got the full kitchen decked out, the utilities are connected, it's serviced with cleaning. So it's something where it's just a really low barrier to entry that's just such a needed service.
That's awesome, man. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so that's the offer. And then what you've done with us is you've created this high ticket coaching program to teach other people this model in real estate, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, great. And you're serving the Australian market right now. We haven't gone global yet. Right now it's just Australia, yeah?
Just Australia. Australia's a big country. Right. I want to talk a little bit about why I'm doing it. So for me, purpose is always a huge driver. So I scaled this out for almost a decade myself, and what I was doing was just setting up my own places. So I did this for a long time before I decided to start teaching people how to do it. But I feel like a big part of purpose in the world is what I feel like is like my purpose in the world is that when you start seeing something everywhere in the world, some wrong that you can right, then it's something that you can move forward and help other people with. So for me, there was two things. Since I was really young, it was people in unaligned relationships, and it was people in unaligned careers. So I used to see my dad go to work, and he was working in steel fabrication, so lots of welding, lots of grinding steel and inhaling just dust particles and whatever else. And I saw a lot of other people who would just hate their job and seem to live for the weekend. So it was unaligned professions. And when I went into the work force, I found myself in that same position. And it was intolerable. I just did not do well with it at all. I didn't do well in conventional school, and I didn't do well in conventional work. So I was sort of lucky that I had a lot of pain straight away going into that. But once I found a way out of that, I knew that I could help others with it. And so a lot of the clients that I speak with, they talk about how they've got the golden handcuffs, or they're stuck in a job that they don't like. They're stuck in a career that they thought they should have done after university, or circumstantially they fell in with like a butcher's apprenticeship after school, and 20 years have gone by and they're still doing it. So I love to be able to help people out of that. And that's a big part of the reason I wanted to put together this offer, because instead of scaling this business out where I'm sort of helping people find accommodation, which I'm not passionate about, it's a great service, but I'm not passionate about. I wanted to be able to help people who have one of these two issues that I always notice in the world, being the unaligned relationships or the unaligned careers, and that's sort of what I stepped into. And it's been a lot easier to scale since making that decision. So that's why I'm making this offer.
Yeah, that's great, man. So, and I love that you're doing this with a real sense of mission and a real sense of purpose. It's not just like, hey, we're going to teach you how to make money. And it's the same thing with Clients on Demand. With all of you guys, the goal is to create the big three, right? The income that you want, the freedom that you want, and making the impact that you were born to make. So we really try to teach everything that we teach based on that perspective. Is income? Do you have a business model that can scale to the level that you want? Is that business model going to give you the freedom to go where you want to go and do what you want to do? And is it actually getting incredible outcomes for your clients? Like, are you actually making that impact? And so I could see with your offer that you're really sort of enjoying all three right now. So before you came to work with Clients on Demand, what was the model that you were using? Were you doing a lower price point, or what did it look like before you came to work with us?
It's a good question. So I've only recently started this, so probably 6 months ago. Before this, I had another coach, and he wanted me to run webinars weekly. So my system looked like essentially that I'd run ads into a webinar, and at the end of the week, we'd jump onto a Zoom, sort of like a Zoom meeting with just a small group, and then I'd prompt people to want to book a call. From those calls, I'd be calling people, and it looked like, I can run through the numbers briefly if you want. So it was $3,000 that I was spending a week on ads, something like that, and I was booking like 3 to 6 calls. 3 to 6 calls from that $3,000 after running this webinar. I found that a lot of people just would not show up. So it's like we'd have like 96 people have booked. Congratulations, we're getting them in at $30 a piece or whatever it is. But only like 10 or 20 would show up because they've booked it on Tuesday morning and they're expected to show up on Saturday morning the next week. So
when you said booked it, you mean these are people that registered for the webinar?
They registered for the webinar.
So you have 96 people register for the live webinar. About 30 of them would show. And then you would get like 3 to 6 calls booked for about $3,000 in ad spend. Okay. So then you're paying about $500 to $1,000 to get a call booked with that model.
Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense.
And I was selling probably 50%, but I was selling it at a low ticket. So basically what I was looking for was that I'd spend $3,000 and I'd sell $6,000. And that's basically it. So I'd make $3,000 a week.
Okay. So that's where you were when we first started working together.
Yeah, that was the model I was running.
All right. So what did we change?
So we moved it into running ads and booking calls directly, so that people are still warm when they're actually booking in a call. I'm
Yep.
still running a similar amount of ad spend, but I'm booking in a lot more calls. So I've been booking calls for around $100 a call,
Okay.
which is like 10 times cheaper,
10 times cheaper. So that's good.
which is amazing. I'd say I'm closing about 25% of. I
Great.
would say just find people who are doing
So
better than you.
before,
in
if you
one
had
area and just
$1,000
replicate the
$1,000
results. That's
per
why I
booking, right?
joined.
And then,
And that's what I
I think
still do
you were
right
enrolling
now.
about 50% of
I'm
those people
always
into a
looking
low
to
ticket
find people who
offer.
are
Your cost to
who have
acquire
what I
is like
want, who have the
$2,000.
results I want, and
But
then
if
I
you've
just
got
reverse
now, you're getting
engineer
calls
that.
booked for $100 and you're enrolling 25% of those people. Now your cost to acquire is like $400.
Yeah, yeah,
So you
and
took your cost to acquire and you took it down to 1/5 of what it was before.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
It is. It's amazing. So last month I did about 60 grand in revenue, which is fantastic. And this month, so that first week, probably close another 2 or 3 people. So, which is fantastic. But the key difference is that I've changed my
Anytime
pricing as
there
well
was
from
something that I
3 grand
wanted to
to eight
do
grand.
or a result that I wanted to experience, I would find out A, who else is getting that result, and B, of the people that are getting that result, who's also getting that result for other people. It's like if you want to do it, you can do it, but it should be an add-on. It shouldn't really be like the core strategy. You know what I mean? So, by doing the live webinar, you're spending a lot of money to get a call booked. You're enrolling those people, but you're enrolling them at, what was it, a $2,000 price point?
Yeah, $1,000 or $2,000 price point.
$1,000, $2,000 of rights. So now we're driving people directly into a more automated process, and that is getting you cheaper calls booked, but it's also supporting a higher price point, an 8K price point, which that's pretty badass.
It's better. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That's good, man. So that's what we want to do, right? We want to make the whole thing more efficient, right? And so how these people that you're talking to, that you're enrolling at the 8K price point, are you getting the right people? Are they it seems like they're the ones that you want to be working with, right? I mean, even if you're only enrolling 25%, again, at $100 cost per call, that gives you a $400 cost to acquire an $8,000 client, which is pretty nuts.
Yeah, they are the right people. So I think a lot of it's just really having those conversations with the people and finding that out. One of the keys is basically just to set up friction, which you guys speak about in clients on demand, and just making sure that we can, add a few extra hoops for them to jump through before they can actually book that call, which is really useful. There's a process we've been working through where we'll set up roadblocks before they can actually book that call.
Right.
And that will get them more qualified coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. That's super cool. Okay, so what roadblocks have we put in place? Just so everybody can kind of understand what we're talking about here.
Yeah. So
like let me like map this out like as we're talking about it here. Let me get a nice fresh clean whiteboard here, right? So like the most basic way to run a book a call funnel, right? And I do not recommend doing it this way, would be just to go add directly into like a call, right? So like add directly into booking a call, right? Because that has, zero friction at all. And you're not really doing very much to warm people up. So what we normally recommend for our clients is to go from an ad into a 25 to 30 minute masterclass. So I'll write this down here, masterclass, and that's about 25 to 30 minutes. And then you've got your booking form, your application right here, and then people can, book the call with you. So that's the basic model that we teach. Now, if, in your case, have we added more friction to the process besides just this? So what did we add in?
there's variations of this. So we've basically what we've added is a timer on the video, so that you've got to watch a minimum amount of that video. Really, really critical.
Okay, so you can't just book, right? You must watch, X 50% of the video,
Yeah. So,
right?
yeah. So we had people, if we had the barriers open, so they watched the masterclass and they booked a call, I'd have people who get on the phone and they didn't know my offer at all. They'd be driving.
Right.
They'd also be pissed off if I was asking questions in discovery. So if I was trying to get to know them, they'd be like, "Hey, just give me the price," like, and they'd call me out
Yeah.
directly. They'd directly call me out, and they'd just be upset. It would really just be like you're going to have a fight on that phone, or you're going to like just end the call, just because they don't really want they don't
Right.
really want what you're offering. So when they
When you're
actually,
talking to people that aren't pre-sold, that's generally the experience, right?
yeah, yeah. So having that gap there was a real game changer. And then we have the form after the video.
Right. So I'm putting this in red here, right? So now you've got two things that we've put in here, right? 2 points of friction. Number one, we're making sure that they actually watch, a good percentage of that video, which is going to make sure that before they book a call with you, they're not just coming to the page and then, just randomly grabbing a spot on your application and then booking a call, right? But then we also have the application form here where now we can filter so that you're only actually going to get on the phone with qualified people, right? And another trick that I think is super important that I want to mention to the people that are watching this, right, is that you've got your application here. Now, some of these people are going to be like a qualified person, and some of these people are going to be not qualified. So what we do is we only pass the qualified people back to Facebook. So in other words, when people book a call, if you're optimizing just to get the call booked, right? Facebook is going to go, oh, okay, well, this guy booked a call, so let's go find more people like that, right? That's not what we want. What we want is for Facebook to say, oh, this guy booked a call and he's qualified. Let's go find more people like that. So we push that data back to Facebook. And so when everything is said and done, you've got a situation now, like you talked about, where you're getting calls booked for $100, but then you're enrolling them into your 8K program at a really good clip because they're the right people. So just want to make sure that everybody makes sense. I want to go a little bit deeper on that so you guys can understand the model as Vincent is running it to support this 8K program.
Yeah.
And what's awesome is this is a real estate offer. It's only Australia. And even in that sort of tight market, he's still able to get these kind of outcomes.
Yeah. It's super niche. There's a lot of scope on this because there's no one else really teaching this. I suppose a really big part of this offer is being able to niche down. Like, I feel like a lot of people, when they're putting together offers, they think, oh, this is stupid. No one's going to need coaching for a business person in their 30s who's dealing with X. And it's like, well, I'm not so sure of that, People are worried sometimes to go niche because they're unsure if they've dialed it in too much. But that can really mean that you're going to be speaking directly to the people who need that stuff. And it's sort of like, it feels more like a blue ocean when you're moving in that space. Like
one of the things we talk about on this channel quite a bit, and what we talk to you guys about, is that really the key to establishing authority in your market is not so much relying on testimonials or case studies or certifications or letters after your name. If you have those things, that's nice. But what really creates authority in your market is if you can describe your audience's problems better than they can. So if you can describe your audience's day-to-day experience of having this massive problem that you solve, and you can describe it and actually put into words what they've been thinking and feeling, but they just haven't been able to articulate. If you can do that, people automatically assume that you have the answer. And that's why it's so important to niche down. So let's just say, for example, that we're talking about like a marriage offer, right? Sometimes people come in the program and they say, well, I'm a marriage counselor. I can work with men, I can work with women, or I can work with couples. What should I do? And most of the time, what we encourage our people to do is to focus on one or the other. So say, hey, I'm going to work with men or I'm going to work with women. If you want to work with both, you can, but what you should have is a separate marketing message for men and a separate marketing message for women. Why? Because the pain points are different. The way that a woman feels when her marriage isn't working is different from the way that a guy feels when his marriage isn't working. And just like with a career offer, it's like, oh, do you want to work with people that are at an entry level position, or do you want to work with people that are like in the VP level or senior management that are trying to get to the higher level, right? Because again, those are totally different pain points. So that's one of the things that we do when people first come to work with us at Clients on Demand is really get clear on that positioning, on the outcome, and on exactly what that client avatar is, because different problems show up in a different way for different types of people. So you don't want to like describe your audience's problems in a generic way. You want to get really, really specific about it. And I think that's part of the reason why your offer is working so well, Vincent.
Yeah, it means it leaves me in a really unique space, particularly in the real estate niche. There's like there's a lot of scope for services. A lot of the revenue that I'm bringing in is from this offer, and then other people, they want more services. So I can see like without shifting gears, without shifting focus, I can see that there's scope for strategic joint ventures in the future where people can come in and offer services to the people that I'm using, like for example, construction. And I can really just focus on my offer and build this community there, because we're in that rent-to-rent space. If there's people who offer that construction or plans and permits, we can sort of do a joint venture and maybe get equity in the company and have them service my students directly. Or it could be that they work as just a fee for service, and we refer them on and just have those sort of partnerships there, so we can make it a really powerful offer. But I'm really enjoying it. Really enjoying it.
That's great. Yeah, the main thing is like once you get people enrolling into your $8,000 program consistently, that generates a hell of a lot of cash flow. And then you can take that cash flow and you can use it to create joint ventures. Or sometimes we have clients that are like, hey man, I want to have a New York Times bestseller, or I want to do a TED Talk, or I want to have my face on a billboard in Times Square, which one of our clients just did. All those things are basically not 100% pay to play, but they're kind of pay to play. So when you generate a lot of cash flow, it allows you now the flexibility too. If you want to raise your profile, it's way easier than if you're just starting from a dead start. If you want to go out there and you want to find joint ventures, now you got the credibility to do that, because you can go to anybody who has kind of an overlapping offer to yours, not a competing offer, but like let's say a complementary offer. And if you go to that person and you say, hey man, we got this real estate investment offer. We're enrolling whatever it is, 50 people a month at 8K. We're doing $400,000 a month in revenue. You know, how can we collaborate? You're going to get taken a hell of a lot more seriously than if you're just randomly messaging people on like LinkedIn or Instagram and you don't have any credibility to your name. So the main thing is to get that basic engine of your business working, where you're spending X amount of money on Facebook or Meta or YouTube or wherever you're advertising, and you're making Y amount of dollars back and enrolling people into that high ticket offer consistently, because that just opens up a whole new world of possibilities for you.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yeah. So, all right. So let me ask you this, man. What are some of the biggest like ways that you've needed to grow to get this offer off the ground? I know that it's, you know, a pretty new offer, but you know, look, man, I always tell people, if you want to be heavyweight champion of the world, you're going to get punched in the face. So what are some of those things that you've had to overcome, right? Because I don't want this channel to just be like sunshine and rainbows and like, oh yeah, you can make money. Everybody can make money. Like there's a lot of stuff we have to overcome. So what are some of the bigger challenges that you've overcome, Vincent?
I'd say for me, because I grew up, like when I was young, I had ADHD. I was diagnosed with ADHD, which means for me that I deal with burnout after a couple of weeks. So I go like a bat out of hell, and I can be hyper focused. So my superpower within that ADHD means that I'm hyper focused. I can put out massive amounts of work, but I'm a sprinter. So the result has been that I need to focus in on systems. I need to focus in on leverage, because if I don't have those two things there and I fall off, then everything falls over. So I'm running fast, lighting fires behind me. I need people to be able to put them out. I need to be focused on systems. A lot of entrepreneurs are the same. They move fast and they break things. So you need the systems, you need the staff there. So having that ADHD meant that I had to focus in on those systems, which as it turns out, was the exact same things you needed to focus on for scale in a company. The exact same things you need to focus on for scale, because a lot of people, they do all the work themselves and they just stay stuck. They never reach a height because they're scared to outsource things. They're scared to move things out of the way so that they can forge forward. So yeah, it's been a blessing for me, that ADHD, and it's given me a competitive edge, but it also meant that I was burning out. So I had run into that, scaling this out. So I was able to go through a lot of the course content and set everything up really, really quickly. But now I'm sort of just pumping the brakes and getting the salespeople in. So what it's looked like for me is the first week, like watching all of the course content on 2x speed, and then implementing all the systems, implementing the frameworks, and then booking out the calendar and doing all the calls myself, 8 to 10 a day, which has been quite intense. And then finding sales staff, which is starting next week. And then I've got my break, because once I get sales staff on, and I'll take myself off that calendar, move them on the calendar, and then it's like, okay, well, I can take a few weeks and I could just be walking at the beach or whatever it is. And if they need to chat with me, if I need to review a call, I can put aside an hour, but that's basically it. And just making sure that they're on track and picking the winner there. So just to put a bow on that, because I know I said a lot of words there, the thing has been burnout and implementation, burnout. Not so much because a lot of people will deal with stress around actually just moving forward and doing the thing. It's the burnout from that, and then just basically mapping out. So I could tell you when I'm next going to burn out as well, but it's basically like mapping out what I'm going to be doing between these gaps. And so I'm sort of like at the finish line of this sprint over the last few months, where I'll be hiring these sales staff and just be pulling the trigger on the ads. So that's basically it. And I can see the next one is going to be that I'll have a gap here, and the next sprint will be until I've got 4 sales guys, and then I'll have another break when I get in the sales manager. But I understand that from here to the 4 or 5 people, let's say it's 3 enrollment coaches and a appointment setter, and I get in that sales manager. At that point, I'm also going to have another break, but there's going to be a sprint between there and there where I'm going to probably have to just knuckle down. So I can see that really clearly. And there'll probably be another sprint until I get another coach as well from that point. So from that sales manager to my first coach, there's going to be another sprint. So I'm sort of just mapping it out in sprints, like I would if I was an athlete. And I know what's going to happen already. So it doesn't hurt as bad when it does. But that's basically it.
Yeah, I love that, man, because a lot of people are like, well, Russ, I know that sales calls are a part of your process. And I'm seeing more and more people advertise like how to make high ticket sales without doing sales calls. And I guess the first thing I would say is, number one, why would you want to? Because I don't want anybody signing up for my program unless I know that I can help them. And the only way that I can really find that out is to have a conversation with them first. And anything else I think is just irresponsible. And the second thing is that a lot of people are saying, yeah, this is how you make high ticket sales without sales calls. But what they don't tell you is that they're making those sales to their warm audience, like to people that have been following them for 2 years, 3 years. They've listened to all their podcasts. They've watched all those YouTube videos. Yeah, for those people, you just have to send them an email and say, hey, we have some spots open. Who wants to sign up? But that's not the same thing as having an evergreen engine where people who don't know you are clicking an ad, booking a call with you, and enrolling into your $8,000 workshop within 24 to 48 hours. If you want to do that and you want to do that well, you need to be talking to people. But the thing that I want to emphasize is that, Vincent, you just went on this sprint where you do exactly what we recommend. You did the calls yourself for like 2 months so you could get into the rhythm. You could get your sales process nailed down. You could start enrolling those people. You brought a ton of cash in the door. And now, once we've established that, now we can start to delegate those calls to a sales team so that you're not doing those calls yourself forever. Like, I don't do my own calls anymore, and I haven't for a long time. But in the beginning, we suggest that you do, because otherwise, like, If you try to hire a sales team and you've never done the calls yourself, it's going to be really hard for you to manage those people because you just don't even know what the hell they're going through. So it's very important to do those calls yourself in the beginning. Make sense? So anyway, yeah, that's huge, man. So let's talk more about so that was the big challenge you went through. Oh, and the other thing I was going to say is the burnout piece. I'm built the same way as you, man. I work in sprints. Like I can put my head down, tell my wife and kids, hey, you guys aren't going to see me for a minute. I'm just going to bang this thing out. And then I need some downtime. And then I come back and sprint. But you got to find your own rhythm. But the main thing is I want to give you guys the freedom to be able to work at the pace that you want to work at and to be able to scale to the level that you want to work with. You know, we work with people that are like, hey man, I want to get my business to like 80K a month and that's it. You know what I mean? I don't need to have $1 million a month business. I don't need to have a $500,000 a month business. If I could do 80K a month, that's enough to hit my income goals and I'm good. So it's like, that's what I said before about the income and the freedom and the impact, right? You want to find the ideal balance of those things so that you're making the money you want to make while you enjoy the lifestyle that you want to enjoy. And if you don't want a private jet lifestyle, maybe you don't need that. You're like, dude, I'm good flying first class. I don't need to fly private. Okay, great. So let's dial back on the amount of work that you're doing so that you can actually create the lifestyle that you want. You know what I mean? So Vince, let me ask you this, man. There's people watching this that are thinking about coming to work with us at Clients on Demand. What would you say to those people that are on the fence?
I want to rewind just to that stuff back there about 50 grand or 80 grand or 60 grand a month. And you'd have some people who want to do 500K a month. One thing that's been really useful for me is that if you create an offer with something that you actually feel like is going to be service to the world or a part of your purpose, then so that would be the first step that I'd say to anyone who's actually looking to do this. So rather than capital or money that you're making per month, it's being like, is this something that I'm being called to do? Like if you've got a knock at the door from your conscience or a higher power or the universe or whatever it is, then you've got an obligation to walk forward with that. And I think that that's where 50 grand a week goes out the door, and you're obligated to scale this thing out and serve as many people as possible. So if you are getting that call, and it's like, I need this for my base needs, it's like, do the work internally that's going to actually help you see outside of yourself so that you can actually be a service to the world. And it might be 100 grand, it might be 500 grand, whatever it is, but just do your best, serve the people, and then, wherever it ends up, it ends up. I mean, the money can be a great metric for success in business. But I think you're going to be looked after if you just start walking that path and answer that call. You know, it's like a lot of the stuff that you talk about with all the people that your clients can help through their businesses. So it's like when you say, Russ, I don't do this for me. I do this for the people that you help, and it's like
Right.
because you know what I mean. So that's a really powerful because. When I was scaling a business, we did 7 figures in rent-to-rent real estate, which is fantastic. But I wasn't passionate about the housing crisis. I was passionate about this. So when you can walk in line with that purpose, it doesn't matter if it's 60K a month or it's 500K a month. It just matters that you're answering the call and you're doing your very best, and most likely, the income per month will reciprocate. It will just start to reflect that level of input, you know. And then you become like on a mission, because there's nothing worse than just working without feeling that drive, without feeling like you're in that alignment. It's got to be, powerful. It's got to be outside of yourself. So you're working for something bigger, you know. That's where it becomes really powerful. So I know it's a big segue, but when I was young, I went through a lot of addiction. So I came through addiction, and they talk about giving yourself over to a higher power and how powerful that is for making these huge shifts. And I think it's the same in business. So it might be God, it might be the universe, it might be spirit, whatever it is that helps you through this addiction, this higher power. It means that you can say, well, I'm held to a higher standard because something outside of me judges me and something outside of me supports me. And because of that, I'm going to make these changes and these shifts. And it's like, if you can get, get the needle out of the arm. It can also, in business, it's like, well, I'm serving these people because I've got this higher power guiding me, and I've got this belief system behind me, and I've got this mission and this purpose here, sort of like judging me or helping me or pushing me forward. It's almost supernatural power coming to you, you know. It can be a real, and it's just the idea that you're called to this journey. It's just the idea you're called to the journey. And then the 50K a month doesn't matter, the 500K a month doesn't matter, because same as if you're in this camp over here, it's a higher power guiding you, you know, it's sort of outside of yourself, or you're doing it for other people. So that shift is just absolute. It's an absolute game changer when you're walking that path, or you're doing it for people around you. It's really, really good. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that, man. I mean, the best way to look at it is like, we talk about money because it's an objective measure, right? You set a goal, you hit the goal, you didn't hit the goal, but that money is really just a way of keeping score of the value that you're creating in the world. So a lot of people go, well, you know, man, that's so greedy to want to get to 500K a month or $1 million a month. And I'm like, no, it's not, because that means we just have to serve that many more people at an even higher level of transformation. So it's a complete reframe of the way that most people think about money. Like, most people think that if I give you $10, that I lost $10.
Yeah.
Right. But if I give you $10 and you give me $10,000 worth of value, then no one really lost anything.
Yeah.
And that's the way that these programs are designed to be built, where if your marriage isn't working and you come and hire one of our coaches and then they save your marriage, like, yeah, maybe that cost you $8 or $9 or $10,000, but my God, that outcome is priceless. You know, if somebody wants to get into real estate and they're stuck in this dead end job and they don't know what to do with their money, then they go and they hire Vincent, and you show them how to, you know, spend whatever it was, $800 on a property and make, you know, $2,400 back every month. Like, you know, that's an incredible amount of value, far beyond what they're investing with you. And so you're creating this situation where everybody wins. You win because now you're bringing in cash and you're hitting your income goals, but your clients win because now they're getting that amazing transformation that they paid you for. And it's like, all it takes is a system and the courage to see it through. That's really all it takes. And you can have this massive benefit on the world that's far beyond what you've been doing up until this point. So kudos to you, man. I mean, I know you're making a huge difference. The clients we interview on this channel, they're all making a massive difference. And that's, at the end of the day, what it's really all about for us. Like I always say, I geek out on my clients' results, but I really geek out on my clients' results. You know, like when Dr. Becky's telling me about, she's got that program where she helps dyslexic kids learn to read. You know, she's telling me about these kids and she's showing me the stats, and she's like, oh, you know, Billy went from being in the bottom 2% of his class to like now the top 10% of his class. And I'm just like, oh man, like even if I did nothing else for the rest of my life, like that's super cool that there's a kid that can read because of some of the work that we did, you know?
Yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing.
So I think that's a huge distinction.
Yeah. You asked me a question before. I know I went off on a bit of a tangent, but what I would say to people who are looking to join, I would say just find people who are doing better than you in one area and just replicate the results. That's why I joined, and it's what I still do right now. I'm always looking to find people who have what I want, who have the results I want, and then I just reverse engineer that. And if you've got someone who has the results you want and is willing to show you how to put that together, then great. Yeah, because it's one thing trying to sit there and piece together the strategy yourself, and just say, oh, I think he's doing this, and I think he's doing this. It's another thing when someone sits down with you and shows you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the biggest shortcut that there is. I mean, people don't know this. I've invested, I don't even know, man, hundreds of thousands of dollars in coaching and mentoring over the years, because anytime there was something that I wanted to do or a result that I wanted to experience, I would find out A, who else is getting that result, and B, of the people that are getting that result, who's also getting that result for other people. And I think if you can do that and you can find those people, like, because it's got to be both. You know, there's a lot of guys out there that are just like geniuses, like straight up marketing geniuses, where it's like they can just crush it in their own business. But what they can't do is like transfer that skill to other people. You know, it's funny, man. Me and Sarah were just like, a while ago, we were watching that show, The Voice. I think it was The Voice. And like Christina Aguilera was one of the coaches. And she's trying to coach this girl on how to sing. And she's like, oh, just sing it like this, blah, 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 blah. Like, you know, and she could just do it. And the girl's like, yeah, I'm not Christina Aguilera. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? We're like she could do it, but she couldn't really teach the other girl how to do it. So you got to find people that like A, are getting the results you want, but B, are also helping other people get those same results. And if you can find someone that's doing that on a consistent basis, especially over the course of like years and years, that's the person that you should work with, because you know that maximizes your chances of actually getting where you want to go.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, Vincent, thanks so much for coming and sharing your wisdom and your perspective with us. It's awesome to work with you, man. You're a dream client. I know we haven't been working together that long, but we already see the trajectory things are on, and I feel like this is really just the beginning, man. And I'm looking forward to helping you scale this thing as far as it could possibly go.
Amazing. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, guys, thanks for tuning into us today. Look, if you want to follow the same strategy that Vincent's following, if you want to get our playbook, have us install this client attraction system into your business, help you figure out your high ticket offer, the positioning, the pricing, the whole 9 yards, just go ahead and click the link in this video, or click the link under this video in the description, and book a call with us, because we're happy to talk to you and happy to help you figure some of this stuff out. I'm Russ Ruffino. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Bye-bye.